We're going to read a story called 100 Snails Go on a Journey. It's a tale about curiosity, adventure, and the joy of taking things slow. So get cozy, open your ears wide, and let's see where these tiny travelers go. One bright morning in a wide green field, 100 snails were just waking up. They stretched their necks, yawned lazily, and got ready to start their day. Just then, a little bird flew down and perched on a fence post. It chirped excitedly. Do you know? On the other side of the big mountain, the view is absolutely beautiful. There are colorful flowers, crystal clear lakes, and even glowing rocks in the sunlight. The snails' eyes lit up with curiosity. They looked at each other and shouted together, "Let's go and see it for ourselves." And so, the 100 snails lined up in a long, winding row and began to crawl slowly toward the distant mountain. With their little houses on their backs, they moved along the field path like a slow, living river. The sun rose higher and higher, and the sky became hot like an oven. The grass drooped, and even the butterflies refused to fly. The snails started to sweat and decided to take a break, hiding inside their cool, spiral shells. Suddenly, a loud beep, beep echoed from the road behind them. 3 little buses were coming down the dusty trail. The red bus was driven by a cool-looking dog in sunglasses. The yellow bus was driven by a monkey who munched on a banana while steering. The blue bus was driven by an old goat with a long beard that swayed in the wind. He looked like a pro. The snails cheered and rushed forward, shouting, "Let's hop on! We'll get there faster." 33 snails squeezed into the red dog bus. 33 more climbed onto the yellow monkey bus. Another 33 boarded the blue goat bus. With a clunk, the doors shut. The engines rumbled to life, and the 3 buses sped away in a cloud of dust. Only one snail stayed behind. He stood quietly by the roadside, watching the buses vanish into the distance. Then he looked up at the sky, down at the road, and said gently, "I think I'll go at my own pace. I want to travel slowly." And so, the little nameless snail kept crawling toward the mountain, step by tiny step, alone but not in a hurry. Meanwhile, the snails on the buses were having a blast. They sang songs, told stories, and munched on snacks. In just a few hours, they arrived at the foot of the mountain. But the moment they got off the buses, their smiles faded. The mountain looked steep and bare, all gray rocks, not a tree or flower in sight. "This place is boring," one snail grumbled. "Maybe the view is better at the top," another suggested. So they began climbing. But the rocks were slippery and the wind was strong. They struggled up, getting dirty and tired. And by the time they finally reached the top, the sun had already set. Darkness wrapped the mountain like a cold blanket. The wind howled. The snails shivered in their shells. There was nothing to see in the pitch-black night. Disappointed, they slid back down to the bottom of the mountain and spent the night huddled on the rocks. The next morning, as the sun stretched its golden rays over the land, the snails got ready to take the buses back home. They waited and sighed. "We didn't see anything beautiful," one muttered. "This trip was a waste of time," said another. Just then, they heard a soft shh, shh sound approaching from the distance. They turned around. It was the little snail who had refused the ride. He was crawling toward them, slowly but happily. Dewdrops clung to his shell, pollen dusted his antennae, and a peaceful smile lit up his face. "Why are you just getting here?" the other snails asked. "Didn't you miss all the scenery?" someone teased. "I passed through a meadow full of wildflowers. It smelled amazing. I saw fish swimming playfully in a clear pond. I watched a family of ants moving house. Some carried food, others directed traffic, all busy and full of life. At night, I rested under a tree and listened to crickets play their violins and cicadas sing their songs. Fireflies flew around with glowing lanterns. I ate tender green leaves, sweet berries, and drank fresh morning dew." The other snails stood there with wide eyes, completely stunned. "Wow, that sounds like a real adventure," they whispered. They looked at each other, then quickly formed a neat line once more. 99 snails ready to head back the slow way. They had finally understood. The best part of the journey isn't the destination, but the moments along the way. And leading the way as their tour guide was the slow and happy snail who never took the bus. And so the little snail taught everyone a big truth. Life is like a journey. The most beautiful sights are often found when we take it slow.